Jo Ling Kent is talking with the driving force behind one of America's most influential companies.
It's pretty rare to sit down with a CEO and the CEO's mom.
She insisted.
So, what do you tell people that your son does?
I actually say he works for Uber. Sometimes I say he drives. He's a driver.
That's modest and proud mom Lily Khosrowshahi. Her son, Dara, is behind the wheel at Uber as its chief executive.
It's a beautiful thing.
They sat down with us to share their family's immigration story. In 1978, the Khosrowshahis fled Tehran and the Iranian Revolution.
We were forced to leave Iran. So it wasn't our decision. It was done in a day.
You don't sit around saying, well, let's plan as a family for a revolution, right? It just never occurs to you.
Dara's father ran a family business, which made them wealthy, but also, they say, a target.
We lost everything.
We came from a much better life to a smaller life. At the time, coffee was 15 cents, and I wouldn't even buy a cup of coffee. In fact, I don't pay for Starbucks coffee. To this day,
Mama, Starbucks is a customer of Uber Eats. You gotta talk it up. I love Starbucks personally.
I'll let you pay, yes.
From point A to B in the best way.
It's that easygoing yet strategic tone that Khosrowshahi brought to Uber.
It's a big change from what you've seen.
Launched in 2009, the company transformed how millions get around. But when Khosrowshahi took charge in 2017, Uber was infamous for a toxic work culture and a growth at all costs approach.
Your job then was described as taking over one of the worst cleanup jobs in the history of American capitalism. That's a hell of a way to start.
Well, I think it was a little over-dramatized. But it was true that I had to come in and change the culture of the company. And I do think that the company, in hindsight, was too aggressive in certain ways. And I think now we get it right more than we get it wrong.
Still, Uber is defending itself in lawsuits over its billing practices and passenger safety. Then there's the company's relationship with President Donald Trump. 8 years ago, Khosrowshahi was CEO of Expedia and condemned Trump's so-called Muslim ban.
Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi.
Today, he's one of many CEOs now engaging with the president.
That's a hell of a name, but you've done a hell of a job.
I do think that as a CEO of a U.S. company, you want the country to succeed. And so that means supporting whatever administration is in power. You're going to have your disagreements, you're going to have your agreements. We have to navigate through a period of a strong economy, but at the same time, significant uncertainty.
Isn't a lot of that uncertainty caused by this president?
Uncertainty comes with change. And I think the president ran on a mandate for change. As CEOs, as companies, we have to adjust to the environment that we see.
And Uber is adjusting. Last month, it announced new, cheaper ride options.
We're rolling out ride passes and route share.
Route share matches riders with other passengers along preset commutes.
This feels kind of like a glorified carpool.
Well, what is old is new again, right?
We have heard from a lot of riders that Uber rides have gotten a lot more expensive over the past few years, more than the rate of inflation. What's happening here?
Well, I think it is about inflation, and the average Uber ride is now a little over $20. Our drivers need to make a living, and so really the demand for drivers and pay has gone up, and that translates into the ultimate price of the Uber ride.
Concerns over driver pay and benefits persist, even as Khosrowshahi's own compensation has surged.
You're compensated about $40 million a year. What should people make of that?
I think that, we as a society, I think as a country, clearly we've done unbelievably well economically. But I do think that the inequality that you see as it relates to the top end compensation, like someone who's lucky enough like me, and the middle class, et cetera, that is too big a chasm, in my opinion.
Too big of a gap.
Yeah, I do think it's too big of a gap. Now, I don't have a solution for it.
It's a gap that may be getting even bigger.
The Waymo driver has driven 2,000 times the mileage of the average driver.
This past week, Uber expanded its robo-taxi service to Atlanta, launching rides in self-driving Waymos.
Everyone wants on-demand transportation, food, etc. So we see actually AV and human driving can grow for the next 5 to 10 years.
So you don't think human driver numbers will decrease?
Not in the next 5 to 10 years, then we will need to adjust as a society. Now it's going to confirm the ride.
For now, robo-taxis are neither cheaper nor faster than a human driver. But Uber claims
This is as safe can be.
You think this is actually safer than a human driver?
Certainly the statistics bear it out.
Khosrowshahi is focused on the road ahead, but his past is never far behind.
It feels like a miracle from where we came from.
When he was a teen, his father returned to Iran for what he thought would be a short visit. But the government wouldn't let him leave.
For the 6 years that your father was away, you never even mentioned his name. And I told you that Daddy was free to come, and you started crying like crazy. I mean, you couldn't stop crying. So, you had learned to just hide your feelings. But as immigrants, we all learn to hide our feelings.
All right, I need a break. Sorry.
What's going through your head?
I don't remember the particular moment, but I remember the time. And I think, Mom's totally right. You adjust to the situation, you do your best.
Adjust. Dara Khosrowshahi keeps coming back to that word in work and in life.
You have said we came at a time that was welcoming to immigrants.
Yes.
Is that still the case right now?
I think, we're going through a transition now as a nation. There's a reset going on in terms of making sure that immigration here is proper, is legal. It's difficult for a lot of people. But my hope is that we remain the kind of country that attracts the best and the brightest who want to build a life here. And hopefully I can help others live the same dream that I have.